What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Griefer Hour podcast. I'm here with Vic.
What's up?
It is a good Sunday. How's your weekend?
Not too bad. Went and saw the girlfriend, as always. Always a pleasure to visit her.
Good. Did you guys do anything special?
Actually, I was told that we were going on a date and that I wasn't paying. I got alphaed out of paying for dinner, and she took me to Olive Garden.
Oh, that sounds like a nice date.
It was. It's always nice to see her make decisions for herself. Being
Good.
the indecisive girlfriend she is. You know how that is, right?
I sure do, because this past weekend I was the one running the show for my girlfriend and I.
Look at you playing point.
I made her a little dinner, and then we went out to this place called Irvin Park, where we got to see some lights, like Christmas lights that
Yeah,
you can
that's
drive
always
through and
fun.
whatever. Yeah, so it was a good time. And just a reminder for everyone, if you'd like to skip to other topics in the podcast, you can check out the slider below. Chapters will be split up there. And Vic, I think it's time for your favorite segment of the podcast.
It really is. It's right in front of Studs and Duds, man. Quick chats, ladies and gentlemen. One this week from our good friend William Krause, and he asks, and I don't know why, but if you could make a baby out of anything, what would it be and why?
So to clarify, I checked his comment, and the reason he's asking is because last week we said, they just appear out of nowhere, which is how it happens.
That's fair.
So he wants to know from like a, law of thermodynamics kind of thing, like how did these babies just appear and like what are they made out of?
I'm gonna go with clay. Just like Zeus made the Amazonians there. Remember that from Greek mythology? Bet you didn't. Made them out of clay and struck them with lightning. There you go.
That's how they just appear.
That's my answer. What you got, Alex?
All right, I'm gonna go a little different route. I think babies, when they just appear. So remember that comment we made about how it's like when a man and woman just love each other a lot, they just appear. So I'm thinking that when a man and women love each other enough, there's some sort of like bodily waste excrement that kind of like sifts into the air, almost like a humidifier you have in a room, but it's like from their bodies, and then it molds together and becomes a baby.
Is this YouTube appropriate anymore? I
think it's YouTube appropriate. What are you talking about? This is just two people loving each other, excreting mist from their bodies, and it forms a baby.
All right. On that terrifying note, if you'd like to get in on the hashtag quick text section, or see what I did there, guys, you need to do that too. You need to put hashtag quick chats with your comments and then ask us anything. We've already answered babies, so let's skip that topic for now. But anything you want to know about us, sports related, favorite color, favorite type of soda, I don't care. We'd love to answer
Literally
it. We'd love to
anything.
provide you content. So remember, hashtag quick chats down below. And now I'll be passing it off to Alex and hoping he can slam dunk this next section.
Well, thank you for the assist there, Vic. We're going to move over to basketball. So the Suns played the Pelicans recently, kind of a rematch from the playoffs last year where the Suns beat the Pelicans. And Zion Williamson, instead of dribbling out the ball like how you're supposed to do at the end of the game, he actually just slam dunked the ball, disrespecting the Suns. So I kind of want to ask you, what is your opinion on showboating at the end of games? Like, when is it valid? When is it not valid?
It is valid when there's big emotions there. Like, it's a big, kind of rivalry situation. Do you remember the other Super Bowl there with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? At the end, Antoine Winfield Jr. breaks up a pass between Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and throws up Tyreek's signature peace sign there.
That was so disrespectful.
But they had played against each other in the regular season. It was a big game. It was a big shootout. Kansas City won that one. And it was just, Tyreek Hill did the same thing to him in that game. And it was that emotion. It was that drive and like, boom, I got one over you. And this one mattered more. Look at me now. It's fair. That kind of a thing. And, I don't know if Zion gets the exact, scenario right back. He didn't really play that last game. I understand it was a playoff game, but like this is just the beginning of the season. every game isn't that important right now near the beginning of this NBA season. I know we're about, maybe a quarter of the way through, a little over.
Something like that, yeah.
So, like, they're not super important yet. Maybe as you get towards the end of the season, I can see a little more showboating being okay. But, like, this seems a little out of pocket, and, you're not supposed to dribble it out at the end of the game. You're there to play, and, if you got to give effort to win, you got to give effort to win. But, they were beating them, and, there was no reason to do that. It's the sportsman-like thing to do, and I think it was a little excessive, personally.
Excessive. All right, well, I'm going to say it's valid. The Suns, I guess, weren't very nice to the Pelicans during the playoffs last season, and I don't know. I mean,
no, they
kind of
weren't.
a up yours sort of thing. And Pelicans right now are doing very well in the West. I think it's fair. I don't have an issue with it. I would have more of an issue with it if it was like, you're blowing out some team and you're windmill dunking over their third string bench players just because. Then it's like, okay, dude.
I don't know, man. I think it's a little excessive at the beginning of the season. I see where you're coming from, and I understand it. I think it's partially valid, but like at the same time, like, yeah, this early stage, it's a little off.
Well, I wanted to segue into talking about the Pelicans a little bit more, actually, because they are currently the top team in the Western Conference with a 17-8 record, and they're on a 7-game win streak. So I have to ask you, Vic, are the Pelicans for real, or is this just an earlier season fluke?
I think this is very similar to what we've seen out of the Jazz. I think they've really preyed on, people thinking a lot of their games are going to be easy, go by, they don't try so hard, we've beaten you before. And, they come out and they surprise them with a lot of heart and a lot of passion, even slam dunking at the end of games. The Pelicans have come out and made a real statement that they're here to at least try, and, they're not going to tank like they did for Zion. But, I don't think this will hold up. I think we've seen this before with the Jazz. It's all very similar. I'm not going to buy into it quite yet. Talk to me at the All-Star break, and if this team's still within the top 4, maybe I can consider it.
All right. Well, I think they're for real. I actually think they're for real because last season they got in the play-in tournament, and Zion was basically hurt for most of last season. He was not playing very much, if at all.
No.
So they have Zion back, and just a fun little tidbit for you. Zion right now, I think, is second in NBA history for most points per game through his first 100 games played. I believe that is the stat. It's better than LeBron, better than Kobe. The only one better is Michael Jordan.
He basically took, almost a whole year off after being in the league for, half a season. I know injuries suck and they're part of the game, but like, Zion's really only played, maybe a full season of basketball.
Right, but he's still good. Like, I mean, in the last 10 games, he's been averaging over 25 points a game, maybe even higher than that. He's been very good, and I just think the Pelicans seem to want it really bad. They kind of look like the Suns looked before the Suns became good, and Devin Booker was just starting to become a real star, and they got Chris Paul in there. They're starting to look like a real team. Now you have the Pelicans bullying Suns team, which is widely considered probably the best team in the West, maybe behind the Grizzlies or a different team.
That Suns team seems super inconsistent this year too. At one point they were doing really well, and then the last couple of games they've really gotten blown out of the water, not only by the Pelicans but also the Celtics.
They've been a little streaky. And speaking of blowouts, the Celtics played the Golden State Warriors in a finals rematch, first time this season. Warriors won 123-107, and Jason Tatum was only held to a meager 18 points. Vic, what is your thoughts on this horrible performance by your Boston Celtics?
I think you're over-exaggerating. Blown out, 16 points. Oh no. They drop a game. I mean, I didn't watch this game, so I don't got any real opinions. I do have this opinion, though. The Celtics are fine. It's 1 out of how many losses for them? I believe it's only 7 still. Maybe 10 losses. But, I kind of lose track of the NBA season here and there. So I forget how many games we've played. But I do know we were the first team to 20 wins.
Sorry, they only have 6 losses, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for fact-checking that.
Yes.
This was part of a big road trip. They've been on the road for a while now. So they were bound to drop one at some point. We were talking about that great win streak they had going at one point there a couple episodes ago. So, you can't win all 82 games. I don't think this is any cause for panic. Tatum had one of his worst nights of the season so far, and you know what? We've seen him be great. Everyone has a bad game every now and then.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
If this was any other team, no one would say anything about it. It's because it just so happens to be the Warriors, and it makes it a higher profile game.
It sure does. And I mean, I think this is one of like 2 or 3 meetings they have on the season. So I'm sure the Celtics will get to play another game against them, and I'm sure maybe we'll see a different outcome. Maybe we'll see. Well, I think that game's way down the road, though. Well, I think it's fine. What do you think? I mean, you've already said it's horrible, but please.
Well, I mean, I was maybe being a little facetious, but if Warriors feel good about their matchups against the Celtics, it could be an issue later on if they meet again in the finals. But the Celtics obviously a real team. They're not one to take lightly. In a 7-game series, I don't know. I mean, does anyone know what Klay Thompson's doing this season? Is Draymond Green still relevant? Is it really just Steph Curry and Jordan Poole carrying that team? In a 7-game series,
for the most part, it seems like they showed up for this one, but that's just one game.
Well, this first meeting between those two went well, but Vic, I hear you want to talk about some other meetings going on in the sports world.
I sure do. I want to get back to our baseball, Alex.
All right, it's been a hot minute.
It has been. There hasn't been anything going on, but this is the biggest part of MLB. This is basically free agency. It's winter meetings. Everyone gets to talk to everyone. It goes on for a little bit, then they take a little bit off. But this is free agency. This is where the money gets thrown around, Alex. And we started off hot. On the first day of meetings, Justin Verlander signed a 2-year deal with the Mets for $86 million with a no-trade clause. So that's probably going to maybe be the end of his career. We'll see. But the Mets add a great starter there. We'll see if he's the ace in front of, Noah Syndergaard and a couple of those other Mets pitchers. It seems reasonable he could be, but he could also just straight up be a rotational pitcher. And then another banger on that day, a couple hours after Verlander signs, Trey Turner leaves the Dodgers and goes to Philadelphia for 11 years, $300 million. What makes this really interesting, though, is that he turned down the San Diego Padres, who offered him $341 million. Actually, I think they offered him a little more, and that is more than they were paying Fernando Tatis before they got rid of him, and that was more than Francisco Lindor signed for the Mets. That is a crazy amount of money. Philly is ready for another long-term $300 million deal. I mean, Bryce Harper seems to have worked out. Why not offer another guy a big chunk of change? And that really kind of rounds out that roster. I think it fills a great need with them. I'm surprised they didn't try to attack Xander Bogaerts more from the Red Sox, but I guess they just weren't interested. They want Trey Turner bit or more, I guess. We move into days 2 and 3 here. Cody Bellinger leaves the Dodgers as well, goes to the Cubs on a 1-year, $17.5 million deal.
Oh, excuse me. Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, please.
Cody Bellinger is the one that just looks stoned all the time, correct?
Every once in a while. He's coming off a pretty decent outing for MLA. He won his MVP in 2019. He's got a couple Silver Sluggers to his name. But I guess the Dodgers weren't looking for a long-term deal with him. Not that they really had a lot of money to throw at him. After re-signing Kershaw, and they've got Mookie Betts there. They're paying big money in the outfield. But it was reported his agent was telling everyone he's looking for a 1-year deal, around $20 million to prove he deserves a long-term contract. I'm not sure about the Cubs, but it's a team that needs players. It's a nice low cap hit, and I think it's somewhere he can easily show can be a number 1 player on a team. Where he goes from there, I don't know. But I was very interested to find out that his agent was telling everyone that. Speaking of the Cubs, former Cub Wilson Contreras, catcher, goes to St. Louis to replace Yadier Molina on a 5-year, $87.5 million deal. If you're the St. Louis Cardinals, you cannot be happier with this signing. It is a perfect replacement for Yadier. It's a great long-term solution to catcher because, their depth catchers were not that great. Yadier was very old last season and did okay. Besides that, first-round exit there. One of the more recent ones was, and I mentioned this guy earlier, Xander Bogaerts. Does not get a deal done in Boston. He was there for most of his career, all of his career. His 11 years total in the league so far. And, he wanted to stay in Boston. He wanted to be, that's where he started. He rose to their AA and AAA ranks. He had a great relation with most of the coaches there and, most of management. But Chai Bloom has utterly screwed the Red Sox out of everything. We could have had Kyle Schwarber. We could have kept Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi, Xander Bogaerts. Now it's up in the air if Rafael Devers wants to stay. Chai Bloom has turned a World Series team into absolute garbage, and I really hope the Red Sox fire him and figure out how to spend their money before luxury tax hits.
This sounds personal to you.
It's a little personal. It's hard to see, another Boston team go from, a great spot of winning to just utterly losing. And on that note, who lost out big? The San Francisco Giants. Now, this was on day 3 of the winter meetings. They signed outfielder Mitch Haniger to a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Now, they were also talking with outfielder Aaron Judge at the same time. And I don't know what they were doing. They still had plenty of money to pay him, and they just, fell out of negotiations with Aaron Judge or something, because Aaron Judge decided to stay with the Yankees on a 9-year, $360 million deal, which is questionable. Because the Yankees don't have a great bullpen. You saw them play the Houston Astros there, and they couldn't hit anything. And I just don't think Aaron Judge belongs in New York. I mean, if Aaron Judge thinks he belongs in New York, more power to him. But I think that was a bad deal for him. I think he should have taken whatever the Giants were offering, gotten out of there, and gone to a roster that has more talent.
For less money?
I really don't know what they were offering. I thought they were in the $350 million range. I thought at one point it was up to 10 years, $380 million the Giants were offering reportedly.
Oh, I remember hearing that apparently Aaron Judge wasn't quote unquote happy in New York, but I mean, if he stayed, it was obviously some sort of mind games going on between Aaron Judge and the Yankees organization, trying to get a deal done and get as much money as possible. But
pretty much,
he's 30 years old. Is he really going to be worth $40 million a year? 30 to 39 years old?
The thing is with baseball, though, is you get a little more days off. You can take days off during a 162-game season, and kind of save yourself for the postseason, especially if your team's doing well. So baseball, you've got a little more longevity, especially when you can move from outfield to first base. Aaron Judge will probably end up switching to first base at some point, probably when, he can't run as fast or, he can't play the outfield as well. I can definitely see that being a possibility with the Yankees, and I don't know if they've discussed that with him. But it's interesting to see him stay with the Yankees is the big thing.
My only concern is, so he's getting a big deal coming off a really big season for him, but you got to look at some other players that have won MVP or done really well in the last, 10 years. Look at players like Cody Bellinger or Christian Yelich or Chris Bryant. All are guys that looked really good for 1 or 2 seasons, and then where'd they go?
They fall off, or they end up with the Cubs like Cody Bellinger does. Or, if in the case of Chris Bryant, I believe he's with the Rockies now. He's not doing much at third base there. And, look at Anthony Rizzo. I'm sure he's a former MVP, I'm pretty sure. And look at him now. He's just sitting on the Yankees roster, not doing much. Making the postseason, but not winning World Series.
You're right. And I want to talk about other teams that aren't doing very much. So let's get into our NFL segment of the podcast, starting with our Thursday Night Football review. And this was quite a, I don't want to say nail biter, but WTF, actually. Are you kidding me? The Raiders end up choking away this game to the Rams 17-16, a game that they were leading 13-3 at one point. How do you do that? How do you choke that bad?
Easily. You let Baker Mayfield bake, man. He was there less than 48 hours, practiced with the team once, and was out there calling the plays in the final 2 minutes.
He outplayed Derek Carr. How do you do that?
It's embarrassing.
It's horrible.
And embarrassing.
So what's this embarrassing? It's more embarrassing than Detroit beating Minnesota. But like Baker literally is just recovering from jet lag by the time he's playing in this football game.
Yep. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but I did see his post-game interview, supposedly. And I don't know how true this is, or if Baker was just, trying to really flex on the Raiders after that. Supposedly, he bought the plane ticket to LA before the waiver went through.
Oh, please. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know. That's when I said, wait a minute.
Come on.
Wait a minute.
All right.
But he said that on national television, swear to God. You can look it up.
I mean, he's rich enough. He could buy the ticket and then just not even go. Or he could cancel it.
True.
Okay.
But
right,
I can't blame him. There were really only 2 spots for him to land. And it was San Francisco or it was LA. Either way, you end up in California. And San Francisco, I think Kyle Shanahan kind of tipped his hat a little bit. He kind of said we weren't looking for anyone. They were going to rock with Brock Purdy there and move along.
I said it last week's podcast. I said that Baker is not like a horrible quarterback. Like I think he's gotten kind of screwed. His situation just sucked.
He really hasn't been on a team with a lot of weapons. Even this LA team is still down its major weapon with Cooper Kupp, and Darrell Henderson has not been great at running back this season.
Hey, remember Cam Akers? Who?
Oh, sorry, yeah, him too. Those are the 2 biggest players on offense, and they haven't done anything all season. And that's a little bit due to injuries, but I feel like this game and our predictions would have been different if Cooper Kupp were playing with Baker Mayfield, or if we had known who the hell the quarterback was going to be going into this game.
Right.
And you know what? I'm happy for Baker. I hope he repeats this next week somehow. Or, maybe not a last second, comeback, but, he repeats a good performance and, proves he can be a player. I hope it earns him a long-term contract somewhere.
Next season, 2023 season, the LA Rams starting quarterback is
Matthew Stafford.
You think he's going to come back?
Well, he's still under contract, isn't he?
Yeah, but he had that spinal injury, and I don't know if he's going to retire. Yeah, it's a tough one to mess. You don't want to mess with spinal injuries.
But look at what Big Ben did. Big Ben played through multiple injuries and drove his franchise into the ground. Who's to say Matthew Stafford can't do that? Now, in a realistic world where I take injuries into account and I don't take in, pride and, not wanting to end on a bad note, I don't think they'll re-sign Baker. I don't know if they have money to. Although I know Baker cap hit wouldn't be that bad. His maybe 15-ish million a year.
Until he could prove himself otherwise.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't hate a 1-year deal for Baker in LA. I think it's between Matthew Stafford and Baker. Realistically.
I just had a thought cross my mind. Next week, we need to talk about Lamar Jackson's contract situation. Please make a mental note about that.
It's hard to get a contract when you're injured.
Right. We'll talk about that next week. Oh, we'll definitely talk about that. And you wanna get us rolling on this upcoming Thursday night game?
Yes, we really should, because this game is going to be very interesting. I love this lineup. It is the 49ers and the Seahawks. A beautiful division game on Thursday night. That actually matters, Alex. We're looking at our 538 scorings of a 41 quality, 99 importance. This is huge for both teams. This decides really who goes to the playoffs and, quite literally the division. Because the 49ers and Seahawks lead that division with, the Rams doing nothing and Kyler I Play COD also doing nothing. And a 70 overall score.
Who do you believe in more? You don't have to give a score yet. I just want to know who you believe in. Moving on. If they were to either team were to make the playoffs, who do you think could make a deeper run?
I think the 49ers could make a deeper run with that defense.
Mm-hmm. And they've been there. That core is pretty much there too.
That core has been there. That core will be there for a little bit longer. It's not like they're all leaving all of a sudden. But the Seahawks are favorites in this game, and it is in Seattle. And, Jason Myers, the kicker, has been able to make some pretty long field goals this season. So I don't hate the 3-point spread. I think it will be a field goal contest. I don't know how well Brock Purdy is going to do. He seemed to do very well against the Dolphins.
So right now, Niners are blowing out Tampa 21-0 in the second quarter. So take that into consideration.
Who do I trust more? Do I trust Geno Smith, who's been cooking all year, or Brock Purdy, who just took control of the offense? I'm going to live life dangerously, Alex. Give me the 49ers in this game. I think the 49ers are figuring out how to do it without Jimmy. They figured out how to do it without Trey Lance. They can do it again this season. Give me the 49ers 25-21. I know that seems weird, but I'm going to take it.
Well, I agree with you. I think Niners are going to win this game. Actually, Seahawks are getting blown out by Carolina right now. I'm going to go a little larger spread, actually. I think Niners are going to put on an offensive clinic against the Seahawks. I'm going to say Niners are going to win this game 28-17.
Wow.
Yes, I'm going with that 11-point spread. I know it seems kind of rash. I think with Brock Purdy, they're not asking him to go out there and win them games. I think they're just asking him to manage things. I mean, it's not like Jimmy was all that spectacular. I mean, all they asked of him really was to just make plays with the talented roster around him. It's not like Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't really have a lot to work with, or honestly, Patrick Mahomes' offensive weapons other than Travis Kelce aren't incredible. So Niners are going to win this game 28-17.
Okay. My only thing is, I think the only reason I went lower than you is because we've seen some other quarterbacks come in this season and do really well and then absolutely choke it. No offense to Mike White.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
After reviewing that, I think we need to review our games from last week, Alex.
Absolutely. We had a couple good games, a couple of high-scoring affairs in some cases.
Sure did.
First game, Browns versus Bengals. Bengals win this game 23-10.
Joe Burrow defeats those allegations, baby.
Joe Burrow defeats the can't beat the Browns allegations. He's now 1-4 against the Browns, finally.
Way to go. And Nick Chubb didn't do anything. The Bengals defense really held up well against him. No rushing touchdowns. I think they held him under like 50 yards, too.
Pretty insane. Nick Chubb is incredible this season, and he was kind of a no-show. Our predictions for this game, I predicted 24-20 Bengals. You had 28-20. Our scores are pretty close. We just thought the Browns would actually score points.
Yeah, I expected Nick Chubb to do a little more, and I'm very happy he didn't. I don't hate under-predicting this at all. What I do hate under-predicting, Alex, is the Eagles.
Yes.
They absolutely demolished the Giants, and I feel like the final score is a little more deceiving than it is. Eagles beat the Giants 48-22. Now, the Giants did score one last touchdown in garbage time. And I'm so very sad the Eagles gave it up because and not only a touchdown, but a 2-point conversion on top of that. So if you want to take 8 points away from that, it's really a 48-14 game. And I'm mad they let it up because that kind of ruins my prediction. I had 28-19 Eagles. I thought they were going to hold the Giants under 20 points, and they did for pretty much 3 3/4 quarters.
Yeah, we both had 28 points for the Eagles, and we were off by 20 points.
What really helped was big turnovers out of the Giants. Giants had to put in Tyrod Taylor at quarterback at one point, and 2 big 40-yard plays. Miles Sanders had a 40-yard rushing touchdown, and Devontae Smith caught a 41-yard pass from Jalen Hurts. That definitely kind of skewed things. Those big plays come out of nowhere, and they really help, move the game along a little bit as far as time goes. And, they just had more time to score, and Eagles really dominated time of possession, and they look great. I believe their defense came up with like 7 or 8 sacks, too. That was another thing. They're drive killers.
I mean, Eagles probably saw what the Cowboys did last week and thought, we're not about to have these Cowboys take our spot in this NFC East division, right?
They surely didn't, and I'm sure like the rest of us, they were praying for a Dallas Cowboys loss this week against the Titans after they made that game interesting, but of course, or Texans, my bad. But that, of course, was also disappointing.
Yes, very disappointing. But what's not disappointing is our upcoming 5:30 Greats game of the week. preview.
They look amazing.
This first game is a big AFC East matchup. We have the Dolphins taking on the Bills. This is a very highly rated game in 538. Quality is a 93, importance 98 for an overall rating of 96. Bills are favored by 7 in this game with a 73% chance to win. I mean, obviously Bills are favored, but take away the Niners loss for the Dolphins, but Dolphins could show up.
They surely can. They've already beaten the Bills once this year. So they need this to sweep and hopefully take back control of the AFC East, at least. We'll see. This is the Bills' second home game in like a month. Today was their first home game since the thunder snow, and that moved them to Detroit Field near Thanksgiving. This is also their third divisional game in a row, Alex.
I don't know how they schedule that.
Luck, I guess. So the Bills have been beaten up on the Patriots, almost losing to the Jets again. And, you know, they've got the Dolphins again this week. And I believe they got the Patriots not next week, but the week after this one.
Now, I've been hearing going around. So there's some analysts that are saying that, can the Dolphins handle like a cold weather game? And my thought is like, okay, I mean, don't all teams have to deal with the cold eventually? Like, how big of a deal with? I mean,
but it's consistent cold, I think, is really what it is. Like, if you mix it in every once in a while, it's weird. Now, especially playing in a nice warm weather state where you don't got to deal with it, you don't got to worry about, you know, field conditions, or, you know, if you can even play at your own stadium at a home game. As far as, you know, how this game is going to shake out, kind of interested to hear what you got going on.
I think the 7-point spread is fair. I think Bills are clearly the superior team here, and it's at home, so you got to take that into account. And Bills are really fighting to keep their top spot in the AFC East. I don't think it's going to be, like, I don't think either team are going to put up a 40 burger or anything like that.
Oh, no. Not even. I'm saying under 30. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. I don't. Okay. I don't think either team will get above 30. So I'm going to take the Bills in this game. All right, give me the Bills 25-20.
Ooh. That's a little less than 7.
It is a little less than 7, and the only reason I think maybe a little less is just big division game. Teams both want it. I just don't like big blowouts in divisional games unless it's the Packers playing the Bears.
As far as this goes, I like your prediction, Alex. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. Give me the Bills 24-17. I'm gonna give me the Bills 24-17. I think they can hold that 7-point spread, and I think their defense, while they have lost Von Miller unfortunately to an ACL, they looked great against their last couple of opponents, really only letting up a total of like 20-ish points. I believe it's 22. They let up 12 today to the Jets and 10 last week to the Patriots. So 22 points through 2 straight weeks is great. And I think they're going to continue on that trend. They'll let up a little more this game against the Dolphins, but they're going to hold it down and they're going to win this one. And honestly, that's not the only good matchup we have, Alex. We have, honestly, another great one out of another East team, or out of 2 more East teams, but this time from the NFC. We have the Giants and the Commanders. Now, this one's not as highly rated, but there is an interesting one, and it's going to jump out to you here. There's a quality of 37, an importance of 100, and an overall of 69 for Giants at Commanders. Commanders favored by 5 points. This is really for one of the last couple playoff spots. The last time these two teams met, which was a week ago, they tied. Now, I'm very curious to see what happens if they were to tie again, and then both of them win out. I believe they still both have playoff spots, which is crazy to think about. You got to take into consideration that they've already tied once. Somebody needs a win bad. The Giants have not looked great, and they seem to be collapsing. And you know what? I think they need to get it in gear. And specifically Saquon Barkley, who I know has been, I believe, kind of battling an injury, and it hasn't been easy going for him lately. And it's not been great for the running game either. It really puts pressure on Daniel Jones to look good, and he just continually doesn't. I think there's a reason Brian Dable didn't pick up that fifth-year option at the beginning of the season, and has kind of said Daniel Jones isn't the guy going forward. And I'm interested to see what they make of that situation.
Okay.
Do you have any interesting thoughts on the game real quick before we shout out predictions?
My only thought is, we've used the phrase, they are who we thought they were. And I think the Giants are starting to become that team that, I don't know if anyone really believed in them. They're 7-5. They're not horrible, but...
No, they're not horrible, but they're also not, extraordinary by any means, They obviously don't really crack the power rankings. They're a solid wildcard team in their division, maybe at best.
I don't have any strong feelings as one team totally dominating this game. I think it's more which team is going to, this is so cliche, but which team's going to make less mistakes. If Daniel Jones doesn't throw picks, Giants could definitely go out there and win this game. But Daniel Jones can be a little bit of a question mark. Saquon needs to show up in this game because they don't really have much of a passing game from Daniel Jones. I'm kind of surprised by the 5-point spread, to be honest. It's just...
Me too, but I don't hate it. I think it's only going to be a field goal. And this is going to lead into my prediction here. I think it's going to be very similar to the last contest. But instead of ending in a tie, I don't know if it goes to overtime or what, somebody kicks a field goal and wins it. And that somebody is going to win this game 23-20. I'm going very similar to the last game they played against each other. Give me the Washington Commanders.
I'm not really that surprised. I mean,
okay,
23-20 sounds fair. Close game. Washington finds a way to pull this one out. Just for the sake of being different, you know what? Give me the Giants.
Oh boy.
I know, kind of rash, but content, right? We need to spice up our predictions here.
All right,
I think Daniel Jones is going to prove all the haters wrong. He's going to be like, nope, we are legitimate. We are not just some 7-5 NFC East bottom, basement tier team. Give me the Giants 24-17. Yep, I'm going with that, and I'm totally not going to regret this next week.
Editor, # play this clip back when the Giants only score 10 points.
Oh, like a flashbacks sequence?
Yep, I'm going to need a flashback.
All right, good.
Guys, if you didn't know, Alex edits all these. It's his channel. Shocker, I know. And he doesn't have money to pay an actual editor. So, yeah, I just totally did that on his own podcast on his own channel. But I think it's for one of the more fun sequences of the NFL here, Alex. It is your turn for power rankings this week.
It is my turn, and we had some very interesting matchups and movements throughout power rankings this week. So,
yeah, I love hearing that word.
What word?
Movements.
Movements, yes.
Gets me excited.
Movements within the top 5. Ninja's going to be very happy about this because he is seeing a lot of movement here.
No, you didn't.
I sure did. I made that reference right now.
Okay, reference. Good. I was really worried you were going to do something else.
No. I am not doing the dance. The ninja dance. that take the cringe to a whole new level. But speaking of cringe, at number 5, give me the Dallas Cowboys. Why? They were number 1 last week. You know why? You should have lost to the Texans. I don't care that you somehow squeaked this game out. You should have lost. You deserve to lose. Your pathetic fan base is annoying. I'm sorry for all the Cowboys fans out there. You just make me sick. I can't stand it. You haven't done anything since the 90s. You deserve to be top 5 just because of your record and whatever, but get out of that number 1 spot this week.
Well done. Thank you. I set it up for you. I had to put them there, and they fell. They fell hard. I love it.
And then number 4, give me the Kansas City Chiefs. Why?
Ooh.
So, Chiefs, good team, but you know what? I think the teams above them, I believe in more, and I think they're a little bit better. Not saying the Chiefs are bad, but they're going to sit at number 4 right now.
I like it. I like it.
Number 3, give me the Bengals. Yes, I'm putting the Bengals in the top 5.
And I got ridiculed for it last week. Let's go.
I think Bengals, they're playing good. And Joe Burrow shows up in clutch moments. He is Joe Cool. He's beat Kansas City now 3 times from last week. I just like the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. That team is looking hot. They just came off a win of the Browns. They're getting good at the right time coming into the playoffs. Number 2, the Bills beating the Jets. Bills lost to the Jets early in the season. It was embarrassing. But you know what's not embarrassing? Taking care of your business playing the Jets this week.
Even if it's only by 8 points.
Right. It's fine. You beat Mike White. Okay, he didn't torch you guys. I'm a little disappointed though, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. You didn't show up for me in fantasy this week, and you're probably going to cost me the week and potentially the season. But you know what, Bills? I'm happy for you. You took care of your business. You are top 2. And then you know where I'm going with this. This is pretty obvious.
Flapping my wings. Let's go.
Flapping my wings. Number 1, give me the Philadelphia Eagles. Why?
Let's go.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They just blew the doors off the who'd they play? Holy crap.
They beat them so bad you can't remember.
I can't remember. They're so irrelevant. They're so irrelevant that I forgot who they were playing. That's how embarrassing it was.
Oh man.
48 points. They almost dropped a 50 burger on this question. Like, are they in the XFL now? Does anyone care about them? Probably not.
I mean, they're like maybe a step above the Texans right now.
It's rough, but there's my top 5. Cowboys, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, and Eagles. What do you think of my list?
Honestly, best list we've had so far.
Good.
No argument. That is exactly my 5 teams I would have put in there. I might have flip-flopped the Chiefs and the Bengals. I don't know. We're waiting for the result of the Chiefs game that's currently going on. If they won that one, I might have put them above the Bengals. But you know what? I like it. Love it.
Good. And let's talk about some things that you like and I like. Gaming.
Games.
Yes.
There's been a lot of gaming stuff going on recently. We've got a wonderful new season out of Fortnite. I guess I can call it that. I don't know if it's wonderful, actually. I haven't played any. But they launched their new season, Fracture, which has also updated the game to the Unreal Engine 5, Alex. So there's a lot of pictures floating around. This game is really only, 3-4 years old, Alex?
It came out in 2017, so...
5
years.
Well, the Battle Royale was like 2 years after they launched their initial flagship, Save the World, I believe. So really, the Battle Royale has really only been out like 3-4-ish years.
Right.
And if you look at the graphics of that game when it first released to compare to now, this game has come so unbelievably far. Like, looking at that game in the past, you never thought it would have ended up here. And it looks like they're looking to add more features, Alex. Rather than just nice graphics, they are looking to copy COD and add a proximity chat feature.
How are my eardrums going to survive that, Vic?
I don't know. Man, there's going to be so much yelling and screaming in Fortnite matches, I feel. I think it's a much needed feature, especially with, it seems to be doing very well for Warzone. It has added a lot of content for content creators, and everyone's using it to their fullest. And I'm interested to see how it would work in Fortnite. Speaking of new things and new battle passes, Alex, there's a big collaboration battle pass for this season across all sorts of things. We're going to see The Witcher in season in Fortnite. Doomslayer is part of the battle pass. There's a rumored My Hero Academia bundle coming to the store later this season. Along with, I believe, right before Christmas, a Mr. Beast is getting his own icon skin in Fortnite.
Of course.
And right behind him in the icon series is none other than Giannis of the Milwaukee Bucks is going to be in Fortnite at some point this season.
How are they going to put him in Fortnite? He's like 7 feet tall. What's his hitbox going to look like?
I'm imagining a big rectangle.
Big rectangle. Big, tall rectangle.
And it seems like this is really coming out at, maybe a little late, but it is almost like the perfect time to get all these big names into one season to really combat Warzone, Alex?
I don't know if they're gonna poach a ton of Warzone players back to Fortnite, unless I don't know. Has Warzone 2 really been tanking? Like, what's the general perception?
Really, I think multiplayer is better than Warzone at the moment. It's solid as always. COD always does well year to year, and I just think this is Fortnite's way of staying relevant. And do you think we're gonna put down COD anytime to test this out? Maybe should we check out the Giannis bundle release, or you want to check out any of these other releases at all?
I'd like to. I mean, it probably no build for sure. I don't want to deal with building, but I definitely drop some COD to play a little new Fortnite. I just want to see how the game looks, honestly, in this new engine. From the videos I've seen, it looks amazing. And for a game that's supposedly, like, the art style is, people would say cartoony, kind of. It
caters to youngers.
But it looks like as realistic as cartoony can get.
Yep.
It just looks clean and crisp. The lighting looks good.
It really does. But yeah, I think we can definitely play some. I put through the update the other day, and I'm looking forward to trying it at some point. We'll see.
Well, we might not be playing as much COD due to Fortnite, but some new gamers might be playing a little bit of more COD coming up soon. Phil Spencer announces that they're promising to bring COD to Nintendo. Wednesday, December 7th, Microsoft enters a deal with Nintendo after the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King merger. The deal for COD on Nintendo platforms will last 10 years. And Vic, the last COD to be on a Nintendo device was Call of Duty Ghosts back in 2013 on the amazing Wii U.
Dude, the Wii U catches a lot of hate here, man. And, was it great? No. But it did walk so the Switch could run. I will say that.
I mean, the Wii U is basically a poor man's Switch, right?
It really is. This is a really interesting deal. They gave out this 10-year deal to actually 3 separate people, Alex. It was not only Nintendo, but it was Sony and Steam as well. Steam has accepted it. Nintendo has accepted it. Apparently, Sony is mad.
Oh, no, not Sony.
Sony is not happy with this deal. Apparently, they wanted something better. And, both Nintendo and Steam has said, and I'm not sure how right this is, but apparently they were all there together when Phil Spencer made the offer. And, they all accepted individually, but they were all there when they made the offer together.
Like in a meeting together?
Yeah, I guess so.
Can you imagine? Think about a scenario where you have Phil Spencer, Paul Ryan, I don't know who Nintendo and Steam. Steam
it's a name I don't want to pronounce because I don't want to be called racist.
Okay.
Or get canceled.
And then Steam is Gabe Newell, right? Is it Gabe?
I believe so. That sounds kind of right.
Anyway, I just like to imagine they're all in a room. Phil Spencer puts out this deal. Nintendo and Steam totally fine with it, and Sony just like pouting in their chair, like, well, we wanted COD first.
Me, game of the year. Me. Oh, wait, they didn't even win that.
Oh,
speaking of Game Awards, Alex, a little recap for our viewers. It was it was the night we released our last episode. Sorry about the delay, but there was a lot of winners there. First of all, the biggest one we will recap real quick is Game of the Year. Elden Ring won right at the end. Big surprise out of us, really. I thought God of War was going to take it with that timely release right near the end to maybe kind of steal votes, but Elden Ring held strong.
Good, you know what I think it is? Think about who has access to playing God of War Ragnarok versus who has access to playing Elden Ring. Because Elden Ring was not a PlayStation exclusive, correct?
No, it was out on PC as well, I believe.
And Xbox.
Yep.
So the more people that can play a game, the more people have an opinion about a game, and the more people who can vote for the game. So
fair enough. I thought God of War launched on Steam. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
But the fact of the matter is, while God of War may have won 5 awards, Alex, it won Best Narrative, it won Best Score, Best Audio Design, Innovation and Accessibility, Best Action and Adventure Game of the Year, and what's his name? I'm gonna be so mad with myself. Won best performance.
Christopher Judge.
For playing.
Yep.
Thank you, Christopher Judge. I feel so bad for forgetting his name. Really, I do. Christopher Judge wins best performance of the year, and that was awesome to see. He definitely well deserving of it. Glad he returned his Kratos there.
I think that was cool, but I mean, come on. All he had to do was say, "Boy."
He really did, but he did it better than anyone else.
He did. He was very good at
it. And he said this in his acceptance speech. He was the last person to read for that character at the original first God of War game.
And he lucked out.
Fun fact.
He's very good.
He really did.
He's perfect Kratos.
He has. As I mean, Sony can be mad. Their game took home 5 awards. Maybe not the award they wanted, but you win 5 Gamer Awards, that's going to mean something. Obviously people are going to try it out after the fact now. You tell anyone you're a 5-time award winner, that's a pretty good day. But who didn't win any awards? Modern Warfare 2.
Oh,
shocker. I know.
They were nominated for game 3 ever. Call of Duty didn't win a single Game of the Year award?
Not a one. They were nominated for Best Audio Design. Lost to God of War. Shocker. Can't hear footsteps when people are on you. I don't even know why they got nominated for that. Best Action Game. They lost to Bayonetta 3. I'm dumbfounded on that one. As a game that really promotes action and, wartime things, you would think that would be the most action-packed type of game, huh?
You'd think so. I don't know.
And I think the only thing more disrespectful to that is that they lost to Nintendo again, and they lost the best multiplayer game to Splatoon 3.
You had one job, COD.
It really did. Honestly, Common COD L.
Common COD L, indeed. I mean, come on. Out of all of those, I think best multiplayer should have easily been their...
You would think so.
...best chance of winning an award. But when you have maps like Border Crossing that are still in the game, understandable.
It is, and that's kind of a dud to me, Alex, but it is not my dud for this week. We're going to head into our next section here. And I think you're going to be relatively surprised here with my picks. I would also like to during that gaming section, Brandon Ayuk caught a touchdown. I got the notification on my phone.
There you go. That should help my team out too. Hey, there it is.
My stud and dud for this week, Alex, are both quarterbacks, and both really, I don't want to call them both underrated because I'm about to call one of them absolute trash, but both of them aren't, as highly respected in the quarterback category. I don't think either one of them breaks top 10, but maybe they can after these performances. The dud this week, Alex. None other than the man who got outplayed so horribly on Thursday night. Derek Carr is my dud. 11 for 20 passing, 137 yards. And I believe 2 interceptions as well. Absolute duddage.
Pretty horrible.
Pretty horrible. The only thing better than that is another quarterback who did amazing today. And I wanted to give it to his tight end, who scored me almost 40 points this week alone. But I had to give it to him because he has done something no one else has. This guy, and this might give it away when I tell you where he got drafted. He was drafted number 1 overall. He's the first number over pick to get 3 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and 300-plus passing yards in a single game. Trevor Lawrence.
Really? I didn't realize he was balling out.
Yes. He was balling today. Thank God I wasn't playing against him either. He scored 31 fantasy points to Evan Ingram's 39. Evan Ingram caught 11 passes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was nuts. Had a great day. Trevor Lawrence did ball out for 30 of 42 passing, 368 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. And that's first ever in I don't know if it was just Jaguars history or league history. I forget, but I read that stat somewhere that he was the first to do that, and that was awesome. And actually, Alex, this is his best game of the season. And I was looking at his stats for the season, what's really interesting is no matter how you combine his touchdowns, he's been really well when he gets 3 touchdowns, whether it's 2 passing and 1 rushing, or 2 rushing and 1 passing, if he has at least 3 touchdowns on the day, he surprisingly doesn't turn the ball over. He has turned over the ball once with 3+ touchdowns.
It's a pretty good stud.
I feel like he has done great this season without Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer's definitely been a problem for sure, but my stud's been a problem, but in the good way.
Ooh.
My stud this week, I'm giving it to Zion Williamson, a guy we talked about earlier in the podcast. He's been doing very well for the Pelicans. He seems to be staying healthy, knock on wood. Hopefully he can keep I don't want to say the baby weight off. That's not right. Tone down on all that good Cajun food down there. We'll just say that.
There you go.
Keep his body healthy, keep making the Pelicans a good team, and keeping them on the top of the Western Conference. So, Zion is my stud. And my dud. Oh, my dud. This feels good. The Minnesota Vikings losing to the Detroit Lions today. L. That's
really common L.
You're a fraudulent 10-3 team. Did you know the Vikings have the lowest? Well, they have a positive point differential, but the lowest margin for a point differential of any 10-win team.
They do. Actually, at one point, I believe, and I don't know if we mentioned this on the earlier podcast, they were one of the very few teams, or actually the only team in the Super Bowl era to have a winning record with a negative point differential. Fun fact.
Oh, maybe they still have a negative point differential. Well,
actually, they might be after this game. We'll have to.
Yeah, because I think they lost by like 12 points or something.
Actually, it might be like -2 now. Ben will be back to that.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, Kirk, Kirk played decent, but
it was a 1 o'clock game. He had to try at the end. They were being blown up for the majority of that, really. I thought Vegas was crazy for having the Lions as 2-point favorites at home with a losing record. A lot of people did. But you know what? They proved the doubters wrong, Alex.
Well, they've won 5 of their last 6 games. Maybe the Lions are turning it around.
Maybe they can end up in the playoffs. We'll never know. Until the playoffs happen, I guess.
I don't know if they're making the playoffs. But maybe. Packers
they're not eliminated.
They're not eliminated. Neither are the Packers, but I don't believe the Packers are making the playoffs either.
I think there's only one last thing to do. That's sign off.
All right, well, those are some pretty neat studs and duds this week. I think we both had some pretty good picks there. Really like the Trevor. Actually, your studs and dud was really good. Trevor Lawrence, Derek Carr. Mwah.
Oh, yeah.
Chef's kiss.
I didn't hate Zion or the Vikings. Those were both great. I mean, the Vikings felt a little personal.
It was a little personal, but I just
did like Zion.
Rub it in.
That was interesting.
Yep. So thank you all for joining us on this week's episode of the Griefer Hour. As always, leave us a like. Please comment, #quick chats below so we can get more than just one next week.
Up those numbers. Pump those numbers up, baby.
Yep. Rookie numbers. Come on, we got to get at least 3 or 4 quick chats.
Upgrades, people.
Upgrades, people. Upgrades. So, anyway, please like and subscribe. Love and comments. Love to see you guys listening. And we will see you on next week's episode of the Griefer Hour.